After Django Unchained was over, I knew I didn't want to do any Django movie sequel, but I liked the idea of there being like maybe a series of paperbacks that could be the further adventures of Django, or maybe go back in time and have a couple more Django Schultz adventures or something. So I just thought I would just try, I hadn't written a novel before, I thought I would just try my hand writing this Django paperback, and at the time it was called Django and White Hell.
Some typical Pulp Fiction, so to speak.
So fucking funny. Every goddamn thing.
But the further he got with the story, the more he realized that the character just didn't fit the narrative canvas.
I was introducing such rough characters in this piece, and then there'd be even more rough, disreputable characters waiting for them at minis. At a certain point, I realized, you know, the only thing wrong with this is Django. Django doesn't belong in this piece. Nobody should be a good guy. There should be no moral center. You shouldn't be able to trust anything anybody says. So if Django says who he is, you're gonna trust that because you already seen another movie and you like the guy anyway.
I'm a bounty hunter.
Nobody should be a good guy. Nobody at all you can gravitate towards for moral reasons. You might gravitate towards somebody nevertheless, but that's all on you. I wanted it to just be a room full of dislikable bad guys, basically. That you couldn't trust anything they said. You know, they're all gonna tell you stories about themselves, or you'll hear stories about them, but you can't believe a fucking thing anybody says.
Are you calling me a liar?
So Quentin changed the character and turned the short story into a screenplay. By the end of the year, he had the first draft of a script on his hands entitled The Hateful Eight.
Yes.
I was gonna write the script a little differently than I'd ever had before, i.e., I wanted to go through three different drafts, and then just each draft would take it a little further and a little further down the line.
But before doing the final edit, he wanted to make sure he had the support of 6 people with whom he wanted to make the movie. The names of 2 of them remain a mystery, but the others were Michael Madsen, Tim Roth, Bruce Dern, and the producer of Django, Reggie Hudlin. It was one of these men who was responsible for the leak, which led to the screenplay being published online.
The director, Quentin Tarantino, says he put a new Western movie on hold indefinitely because somebody leaked the script.
The script was leaked. Tarantino gets really upset, says he's going to publish the script as a book instead.
Take that. Wow, missed opportunity for all those folks. My goodness.
I know. It was between the 3 people most likely to do it and the 3 people most unlikely to do it.
Okay.
And the one that I know didn't do it was Tim Roth.
Yeah, he needs the work.
So the whole world just took it that Michael Madsen did.
Is that good enough for you?
Michael Madsen gives me a call. He goes, you know, Quentin, you gotta let people know that it wasn't me. I mean, I'm getting all this stuff. I'm in Italy shooting a movie, and they go, Michael, how could you do that to your friend Tarantino?
Kind of a stupid question.
This was an unprecedented event for such a small circle of confidants. Quentin was furious. He gave an interview where he announced that he wouldn't be filming the movie. Later, believing that Reggie Hudlin was responsible for the leak, he filed a lawsuit against him.
It seemed like they were truly fucking up this process that I was trying to do. They were kicking me right in the shins.
But if the director dumped the film, how did it end up being shot?
How so?
It was last year.
Yeah.
And Quentin called and he said, I'm going to do a reading of this script. Would you want to take a part of it? And I said, sure, that'd be great.
But the next thing I know is that kind of like the whole day, and it's feels more like a rehearsal than a read through. And it's like, okay. And well, we're going to do it again tomorrow.
And then I learned that day that I was going to be in front of 1,500 people at the Ace Theater in Los Angeles. And I thought, oh, well, okay.
Yep, 6 months later, when Tarantino had cooled down, he decided to host an open reading in Los Angeles with the actors he had planned to hire. The event had 1,200 people in the audience, who on average had paid $200 for a ticket. They were not disappointed. In the end, the audience gave a standing ovation, and the actors began to convince Tarantino to film it after all. Quentin was so touched that right then and there, he declared that his 8th film would be Hateful Eight.
I fucking knew it!
The cast was mostly made up of Tarantino's friends for whom he had written the roles.
Everybody here that I'd worked with before, I wrote for them. Okay. I wrote Oswaldo for Tim Roth. Yeah. I wrote Joe Gage for Michael Madsen. I wrote Major Warren for Sam Jackson. For the most part, I wrote John Ruth for Kurt Russell.
You're writing your life story. You bet I am. Am I in
You just entered.
The choice of Kurt Russell for the role of John Ruth the Hangman was an interesting one. Tarantino mentioned several times that Hateful Eight only referenced 2 films.
The Thing is probably the one movie that is the most influential on this movie, per se, as a movie. The Thing and Reservoir Dogs are absolutely the 2 biggest. And actually, Reservoir Dogs was very much influenced by The Thing, so that goes a long way.
Nobody trusts anybody now.
It's the only movie that I showed the cast.
You didn't show it to Kurt Russell.
I did show it to Kurt Russell. He loves The Thing, so he loved watching it with the cast, because he was just, yeah, that's my baby, that's what I did.
There's a storm hitting us in 6 hours. We're gonna find out who's who.
The connections are easy to follow. The heroes don't trust each other while being trapped in a closed space because of a snowstorm. Russell's character is paranoid and disarms the rest of the characters.
Put those torches on the floor and back off. Like I said, nothing personal, just a precaution.
The paranoia just bounced off all the walls until it had nowhere to go but the 4th wall, out into the audience.
And of course, Ennio Morricone, who composed the music for both films.
But it's the first time in 40 years he's done a Western, because he said he was done with Westerns. He didn't want to do a Western anymore. And so he read the script, his wife read the script, they both really liked it, and then I was invited to come to his house to talk to him about it. And so then we started talking, and he thought that I hadn't started to shoot yet. Little did he know I'd already shot, and I'd need the score in a month.
Now that's funny.
And he's like, well, this is not going to work. I'm working with Giuseppe Del Toro, and he just finished shooting the other day, and I got to do his score. And I go, well, okay, well, tell me what you thought about the script. And so he starts talking about the script. He goes, yeah, so I had this idea for a theme when I was reading the script. And he goes, I wanted to have a forward momentum that moves it forward, almost indicating the stagecoach. Mm-hmm. Moving through the snow with the 6 horses. I want to feel the 6 horses. I want to feel the stagecoach moving through the winter. But the important part of the theme is the fact that it truly suggests the violence that will follow eventually. Well, that sounds pretty fucking good. Yeah.
Well, I must admit, it does make the setup more convincing.
He said, here's what I can do. I can maybe write the theme. And I had already talked to him about the Carpenter theme. And then he told me a story. He goes, I wrote a whole orchestra score, and I wrote a whole synthesizer score, because I knew that was what he was used to. And I gave him everything, and the only thing he used in the entire movie was the synthesizer main title. So basically, if you stay away from the synthesizer main title, all that music that's on the soundtrack album, The Thing, has never been used in a movie ever. But then we were at an awards show the very next day, and I saw him the next night, and he came up to me and he goes, I'm going to write you more music. He liked the movie, and one of the things he liked about it was the fact that it didn't seem like any Western he'd ever read before. And he didn't really write a Western score. He wrote a horror film score. This is a once in a lifetime thing, and I'm just happy to have a front row seat.
Then he began casting the other roles.
And I remember saying, there's no Hispanic actors that are just popping in my head that would just be perfect for this character. Nobody's jumping off the page that I'm thinking about. I was like, Demian Bichir, are you kidding? That's what he said.
Good idea.
Of all the characters, if you look at what's on the page and then you see what Damien delivered with it, it's like the one like, how the fuck did he get there from here? I mean, what's on the page doesn't really reflect what he ended up doing.
You're right, amigo. Muchas gracias.
Now you're here.
Am I here? I just really like all these guys. I'm just here as I'm the crew.
They keep trying to stick him in the TV spots, and I keep taking him out, all right?
Not counting a few small roles, the main role of casting was to find an actress for the role of Daisy Domergue.
You don't know nothing about this filly here.
Nope.
Don't even know her name.
Nope.
Rumors tied the role to Jennifer Lawrence and Uma Thurman. But Quentin did as he had often done in his career. He chose an actress whose glory days seemed to have passed. Jennifer Jason Leigh.
What really got me was I just started watching a bunch of her movies over again. So I watched Mrs. Parker and the Vicious Circle. I watched Georgia. I had a whole Jennifer Jason Leigh film festival. I watched about like 8 movies.
Don't make me come get you!
Everybody in Hollywood in the 90s felt that Jennifer Jason Leigh was the female Sean Penn. If I have this rogues gallery of men that I have to deal with, I need a female Sean Penn, all right, to put in this thing.
Jennifer been kind of quiet and tame all that time, and I knew she was there with Kurt, and then when she sticks her head out the window, she'd never done that before. She blew that snot out of her nose, and then she started gnawing on the stagecoach window. And then I get in the stagecoach, and Kurt elbows her in the face, and she's sitting there looking at me, and I'm staring at her, and we'd rehearsed this, and all of a sudden she winked at me. And I went, what the fuck just happened? and Quentin's right behind me. Quentin's going, did she wink at you?
You go, yeah, motherfucker, she just winked
at me.
Can you believe that shit?
Believe this shit?
Before filming began, Quentin insisted that the movie be filmed on some incredibly rare equipment. They used cameras and lenses which had been used to film Ben-Hur.
It's not they used these same type of lenses on Ben-Hur. They used these lenses on Ben-Hur.
Oh, wow.
These lenses they only made one set of them. They only exist as this group. So these are the lenses that made Ben-Hur. These are the lenses that they shot It's a Mad, 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 Mad World in.
They were restored and tested over 6 months to make sure they were ready to be used in extremely cold temperatures. Hateful Eight became the 11th film in the history of cinematography to be filmed in Ultra Panavision, which has an aspect ratio of 2.76 to 1.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it is kind of nice to give an audience something that they can't get at home.
Ultra Panavision. When you absolutely, positively got to wow everyone in the room, except no substitutes.
I have shot a lot of close-ups of this man right here, but I have never shot close-ups the way they look in this movie.
You're starting to see pictures, ain't you?
On the 8th of December 2014 at a ranch near Telluride, Colorado, they began filming Hateful Eight.
Considering there's a blizzard going on. Whole lot of fellas walking around, wouldn't you say, Major?
Without leaving Colorado, the film crew shot the exterior of the haberdashery and the panoramic views of the San Miguel Mountains.
Really build the whole thing twice?
Absolutely, we built it twice. We built it in that mountain range where you saw it in Colorado, and thank God we did. I mean, that was always the idea. So basically, all the daytime stuff was shot in Colorado. Then once it became night, then we moved to a set in Los Angeles and shot it. But the good part about the set in Los Angeles was because the weather was mercurial in Colorado, you couldn't count on the breath all the time. However, once we were in Los Angeles, we can make the set as cold as we wanted, so we got breath every day, every shot.
And in Colorado, we go inside to get warm. Right. We come back to LA, we're running outside to take a coat off.
You okay, OB?
I'm fine. I'll be fine. I just need to get warm.
When guitarists hear the story connected to a scene shot in one long take, where Daisy Domergue performs the song Jim Jones at Botany Bay, their blood runs cold.
Because I had to practice that fucking instrument every day whenever I was not on camera. It was amazing. I had never played guitar in my life.
The guitar I play is actually an 1860s Martin. I mean, it was an incredibly beautiful instrument, which, as you saw, got smashed to bits in front of my eyes.
This explains Daisy's frantic reaction, since this moment was captured in the final version of the picture.
Because I've done 1,000 shows, and I couldn't imagine they would even be using the one guitar. But you can even see it, I kind of give it an extra beat, and nothing, so I go ahead and smash the guitar. I can tell when I grab her and sit her down, I can tell she's not happy about this. It's like, something's wrong. So as soon as it's over, I said, tell me that's still not the guitar you've been practicing with. And she went,
got another verse to it?
Suddenly, now, within a week, the guitar's worth $25,000. At the end of the show, it's worth $45,000.
And though the insurance covered the cost of the damage, representatives of the Mott Museum said they would never again allow one of their guitars to be used for a film.
I just love how that these urban legends grow. So far from me, I knew I was 145 years old.
No. Yeah. Shut up.
The last scenes were filmed on the 5th of April 2015, after which Quentin spent 6 months working on editing the picture. Simultaneously, the Weinstein Company began preparing for the release of the widest formatted film that had been released in the last 60 years. They searched for, bought, and restored 70mm projectors in 100 cinemas across the country, and invested $10 million in the process. This was a move unheard of in the prime of the IMAX era. The premiere was planned for the 25th of December. Four days before that, Tarantino got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and everything seemed to be going great.
He's all about making films that make you happy, because we went to the movies to be happy.
The first showing of The Hateful Eight was supposed to be at the legendary Los Angeles Cinerama Dome. It was one of the few theaters in the whole world equipped for this type of film, and had a deep symbolic meaning for Quentin, who had been going to it since he was a child. But then...
Basically, and I'm not talking about the whole country, but I'm talking about one theater in particular.
You sound nervous about this.
Well, it's a big fucking deal.
All right, go ahead.
We were going to play at the Cinerama Dome on the 25th. We were going to open there and play there exclusively for 2 weeks. And Star Wars was going to play the 2 weeks before us. And I grew up in Los Angeles, so I think of the Cinerama Dome as a real big deal and imagine seeing it at the Cinerama Dome.
Means something to you.
Exactly.
Right.
Disney, who owns Star Wars, decided, well, you know what? Maybe we want to play throughout the entire holiday season. We're going to go to the Cinerama Dome and say that they can't honor their contract with us to show The Hateful Eight. And the ArcLight people that own the Cinerama Dome said, no, you can't do that. We have a deal. As of yesterday, Disney came to the ArcLight people and said, no.
Wow.
You are going to play Star Wars in the Cinerama Dome for the entire holiday season. And if you honor your deal with The Hateful Eight, we will not allow you to have Star Wars, the biggest movie in the world. We will not allow you to show it at any of your ArcLight movie theaters.
Oh.
They are going out of their way to fuck me.
Quentin, in all fairness, I must say there's nobody from Disney here to refute that or to say...
No, but as far as I'm concerned, then let all the entertainment reporters call up Disney as of now and ask for their comments about their extortionist practices.
Listen, Bob, I'm talking to Bob Iger. I don't give a shit about this theater. Quentin's a weirdo. Sorry, Quentin. The fucking kid, they got the stupid 70mm. They got all that shit that he cares about. He just wants to show his goddamn movie there. You're sitting on top of the world. You got Star Wars. What do you need this? Do me a favor, Bobby, for me. And you know, we've had many private conversations. I fucking partied with this guy over at Jimmy Kimmel's. Be a gracious man. I want Quentin to show this new movie. He's worked his ass off. He wants the equipment. Hateful Eight. Would you do it for me? All right? Christmas. It's Christmas, for Christ's sake.
In the full version of this interview, Quentin was so touched by Stern's help that he teared up.
You're moved to tears over this.
No, that's very touching, man. I really appreciate it.
But the story didn't have a Disney happy ending. Bob Iger didn't budge, and the premiere at the Cinerama Dome was bumped to 2 weeks later. Tarantino was enraged. He promised he would never ever work with the company ever again, which had made quite a lot of money from Pulp Fiction and Kill Bill since Disney owned Miramax.
They fucked me over, and I made them a lot of money for Pulp Fiction. And that really is a bad way to treat a former employee who has worked very well for them.
Yes, many may think it's not a big deal, but for a person who treasures details and devoted his whole life to film, it was a big deal, which is why the conflict got so much attention. Unfortunately, that was not the last hit Quentin received. The close circle which had leaked the script came full circle when a few days before the premiere the film was uploaded to the internet.
No one said the job was supposed to be easy. No one said it's supposed to be that hard neither.
So the movie going up against Star Wars, The Revenant, and Joy made a heroic effort when it collected $160 million worldwide. Nonetheless, it was considered a failure. 2 months later, at the Academy Awards, the picture was only nominated in 3 categories: Best Cinematography, Best Supporting Actress, and Best Soundtrack.
Pazzo.